Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Tonight is the highly anticipated State of the State address. We got a chance to catch up with Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, and we have a preview of what Governor Whitmer will be discussing. But first, we've gotten a bitter blast of cold air, as you can see on this weather model. The question is, will things warm up at all, or will this Arctic blast linger? The weather, of course, Top Air News here at noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Evrod Cassamy. We want to turn our attention to the forecast as we're giving you a live look outside there through our sky cam. It just looks cold. Let's get on over to meteorologist Brandon Rue. You know, when we see temperatures this cold, you know, we can say we don't have monsoons, we rarely have tornadoes, we don't have hurricanes.
We just have the cold. And it's pretty cold out there, and it looks cold. That's good enough. Don't even go out and try to sample it if you don't have to. I mean, in minutes, you can get into frostbite hypothermia concerns. Temps have been in the single digits most of the morning, now getting into the middle teens. As we look at wind chills, we see barely, again, still in the single digits. We're going for 19 degrees. Don't let that sun fool you. It's good for the spirit, but it stays bone-chilling cold. Also, don't forget the 3 Ps, pets, pipes, potholes. If it's too cold for you, same with the pets. Get them inside. You can run some water to avoid freezing your pipes. And potholes, man, it's just a matter of time. The Local Forecasters app, the square in the middle of your screen, a QR code. You can hold your phone right up to it. It'll link you right to the Local Forecasters app, which is free and has everything you need to know to get through this bitter cold. Evrod?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Tonight, Governor Gretchen Whitmer will give her 4th State of the State address, and the speech will be held remotely due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, though, we got a chance to catch up with Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, and Local 4's Paula Tutman has a look at what he had to say about the highly anticipated address.
So in a state that has very little purple and there are clear divisions with red and white, tonight in her State of the State address, Governor Whitmer will try to remind all sides why this is a state that inspires. This morning, Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist laid out the important things the governor wants to impart on the people of Michigan with a theme of why people believe in Michigan.
We're going to make insulin more affordable. We're going to make mental health care more available. And we're going to propose a rebate to those who want to buy those electrified vehicles rolling off the assembly line here in Michigan.
The governor will be announcing a plan to repeal the retirement tax.
It's going to save 500,000 households at least $1,000 a year. And we're super excited about what that means. But also for working families, we're going to make things less expensive for them too, by increasing their working families tax credit so that we can enable people to have a tax refund of about $3,000 to almost 750,000 working people in the state of Michigan.
Moving briskly past the second year of a pandemic and sliding into a third, the governor will also be addressing COVID, her response and the responsibility of Michiganders to what they can do to tamp down the virus so it becomes more of a nuisance than a deadly public health crisis, and that is by getting vaccinated.
And so we want everyone to continue to make that choice, which is a choice that was not available to us in March and April of 2020.
She will be touting the work being done by the Biden administration to make testing and masks more readily available and talk about her administration's own efforts to keep in-person learning going by scaling up testing to schools, by infusing 300,000 tests into the school districts of Michigan. And the governor will talk about opportunities in Michigan.
We're going to be talking about some great things, and that General Motors investment, I just want to put a finer point on it. It's the largest investment General Motors has ever made. And this is they're going to be building electrified vehicles and batteries here in the state of Michigan. And we're super excited about what that means for the jobs, for the UAW workers, and for our economy and the future of the mobility industry. And so, yes, we're going to talk about that. And
our Mara McDonald will be picking up our evening coverage of the State of the State address. For now, I'll throw it back to you. Have a great afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much, Paula. We are going to be carrying the governor's speech for you live, both here on Local 4 and on our website, clickondetroit.com. Our live coverage starts tonight at 7. The Michigan Supreme Court heard arguments this morning in a lawsuit over the state's new redistricting maps. A group of current and former Black Detroit area lawmakers claim the maps dilute the vote of Black voters and violate the Federal Voting Rights Act. They want the maps thrown out and redrawn. The Independent Redistricting Commission says that its maps do comply with the Voting Rights Act. Attorneys from both sides presented before the justices just a little while ago.
The question is, why should the African American be the sacrificial lamb in this state redistricting map? It's not fair, it's unjust, and for the 70 years that the African Americans have fought for civil rights to gain their power in these districts and be just nodded away with the strike of a pen within a making of the map in 3 weeks, really.
There are a number of districts. The number is not zero in Congress. The number is not zero in the Senate. There are a number of districts where the minority community is afforded an opportunity to elect its candidate of choice, even though the minority VAP, voting age population, is lower than majority.
The U.S. House and legislative maps were approved in December, and they take effect this year and last for the next 10 years. Attorney General Dana Nessel is launching an investigation into insulin prices, and she's actually looking into Eli Lilly, one of the largest drug companies that makes nearly all of the insulin here in the U.S. Nessel says the average out-of-pocket cost for a single vial of insulin is nearing $100, and that's something that she says is grossly excessive. Nessel is also challenging 2 rulings from the Michigan Supreme Court that will prevent her from taking legal action against the company. Let's turn our attention now to the coronavirus. There's a new British study that's shedding some light on Omicron infections. Researchers with Imperial College London's REACT study say that 2/3 of the more than 3,500 participants who tested positive in January reported that they had already tested positive for COVID in the past. A further 7.5% of infected participants said that they suspected they had previously had the virus, but had not confirmed that with a test. Omicron has almost completely replaced the previously dominant Delta variant of COVID-19 in England, which similarly has been reported here in the U.S. Right now, the White House Coronavirus Task Force is updating us on the Omicron variant. Let's listen in.
While the number of hospitalizations is higher now than we have ever previously seen, the ratio of hospitalizations to cases remains lower than prior peaks. When we look at other disease severity indicators measured among people who are hospitalized with COVID-19, such as hospital length of stay, ICU admissions, and deaths, these indicators are lower with Omicron than during previous periods of high transmission. And this is likely attributable to 2 key factors. First, many people in our country have some level of immunity from vaccination and boosters or from previous infection. And second, it's likely that Omicron is less severe than prior variants.
Now, the U.S., meanwhile, continues to lead the effort to help vaccinate the world. At President Biden's direction, we are donating 1.2 billion vaccine doses to other countries. And today, we're going to hit a significant milestone. We have shipped 400 million vaccine doses to 112 countries for free with no strings attached at all. Vaccinating the world is important because high vaccination rates help drive down transmission, which, as you know, helps other variants from forming. In the meantime, the CDC has a clear message for pharmacies. They want them to stop turning away immunocompromised people looking for a 4th dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. In October, the CDC announced the most vulnerable Americans should get a 4th shot, but that guidance might have gotten lost in the shuffle because around the same time, America was debating boosters for the general public. And now many patients are struggling to find someone who will give them a 4th dose, and the CDC wants to change that. In other news this afternoon, it's time now for a Local 4 News update. And take a good look at the sketch here on your screen. Police have released this composite sketch of a man that is suspected in the attempted abduction of a 12-year-old boy. This would have happened on January 19th, and police say the boy was at his bus stop right near Michigan Avenue and Denton when the man apparently tried to grab him. The boy was able to fight the man off and escape. The suspect was driving this white 4-door sedan. That's a photo of the car as captured on surveillance cameras. If you recognize the man in the sketch, or maybe you've seen that car, if you have any other information, please contact Canton Police. Right now, the U.S. Coast Guard is searching for 38 people who are believed to be missing after their ship capsized off the Florida coast. The incident happened on Sunday night, but officials were alerted to it on Tuesday morning after a man was spotted clinging to the hull of a boat 45 miles from Fort Pierce. The survivor said the group had embarked from the Bahamas on Saturday night and they hit some inclement weather. One body has been recovered so far.
We do suspect that that this is a case of human smuggling. This event occurred in a normal route for human smuggling from the Bahamas into the southeast U.S. Homeland Security Investigations is leading the investigation of the facts and backgrounds into that component of this case.
The survivor says none of the passengers were wearing life vests, so we'll keep you posted as we get more information about this search. Still to come here at noon, the U.S. and its NATO allies are stepping up their response as Russia appears likely to invade Ukraine. We'll tell you what we're learning at this hour.